Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today we are finally getting into the beauty report for January. I know this is coming significantly later than it normally does here on my channel. This is a series, if you're new here, that I do every single month where I do like a rapid fire round of reviews on products that I've been testing out that are new to my collection. And I normally like to post them either like the very last day of the month or at the very beginning of the next month. But my 2020 has been a little crazy. Last week, no lie, I went to take my memory card out of my computer and like I know it had been a little cracked and it just completely shattered. Like it exploded into a bunch of tiny little pieces and that was the end of that memory card. So I finally was able to go out and buy a new one, and then I was planning on doing a bunch of filming this weekend, and no lie, totally got sick again. I'm apparently just winning the lottery of illness this winter season. Honestly, I feel like it doesn't help that the office that I'm working in now is like a little fishbowl of germs. Like everyone around me has been sneezing and coughing, like everybody has been sick and that air is just circulating around. So I'm pretty sure I had very little hope to begin with, and then last week I just had 2 nights in a row where I didn't get any sleep, and that was it. My immune system was just like, nope, I'm out. Needless to say, I'm feeling well enough today to sit down and do my makeup and film. I actually just filmed an Ulta try-on haul with a bunch of new drugstore products, so that's what's on my face right now. That video will probably be going up on my channel later this week, if not the beginning of next week. And yeah, now it is finally time to recap January. There's lots of really good stuff that I tried out in the last month and a few things that I was like, not so big of a fan of. So if you would like to hear my thoughts on all of these products, stay tuned because we're about to get into it. So let's start out with some things from ColourPop. So the very first purchase that I made of 2020 was from the ColourPop website. I picked up the new Mint to Be 9-pan eyeshadow palette. I basically saw the promo photos for this and like immediately got suckered in because I love mint green and I don't have like an abundance of this type of color of eyeshadow in my collection, so I really wanted to pick this up. And then along with that, I got it in a bundle with 2 eyeliners. The ones that came with it were the shade Zulu as well as the shade Honeydew. Is that what this is? Yes. But I honestly have not had a chance to use the Honeydew shade yet, so I really can't speak to that, but I have used Zulu and I've got some thoughts. And then with that order, I also picked up one of the Blur Luxe lipsticks in the shade Virgo Moon. I think this was part of the Flutterby collection with a really pretty like purple butterfly palette. And then I picked up a blending sponge. And then this is something I picked up, I guess technically at the end of 2019 from Ulta, but it's also from ColourPop, and I don't think I've really talked about it yet here on my channel very much, so I figured I'd lump it on in, and that's the It's My Pleasure palette. Now, these are the first monochromatic 9-pan palettes from ColourPop that I've ever purchased. I have tried their eyeshadows before. I do have a ton of singles, and then I do have several of their 12-pan palettes. And I don't know why I had never wanted to buy any of these because I love the ColourPop eyeshadow formula. I think it's excellent. Maybe it's just that because these are all monochromatic color stories, I usually like to have a little bit more variation. I like to have palettes that are kind of like a one-stop shop. So I just never picked any of these up. It's My Pleasure was the one that I had always kind of gravitated towards most. So when I saw this available on the Ulta website and I was placing an order anyway with points, I just decided to throw it in my cart because I figured like for free, why not pick it up? And I love purple eyeshadows, so I just felt like this is something that I definitely could see myself getting use out of, and having tried it a few times now, I do really think this is excellent. I mean, like I said, I love ColourPop eyeshadows. I think for the most part, they're very consistent. The mattes are really buildable with very smooth pigmentation. They're very easy to work with. They blend really nicely on the eyes, and the metallics, again, they can range from being like more satin to like really foiled. It kind of depends on the formula, but for the most part, I find them to be really impactful and beautiful on the eyes. This particular 9-pan palette does not have any pressed glitters in it, which I like glitter, but I can appreciate that this is something that is more eye safe and easy to use for everybody. So I'm really happy to have this guy in my collection now. And then Mint to Be, I just wanted because I love mint green and I don't have this color a million times over in my eyeshadow collection, and I just felt like it would be fun to have this palette on hand to use as an accent palette with other things. And this is something I've heard as like a complaint about these palettes. Like, they are a little redundant in that if you pick one of these up and you're planning on just using it by itself for looks, like there's only so much you can do. Like, you're not gonna get a ton of variation in the types of looks you're gonna get when you're using a monochromatic palette. However, I picked this up really with more of the express purpose of using it with other things so I could incorporate these fun pops of mint green, and I've been really liking doing that. These two palettes paired together are absolutely gorgeous. If you saw my declutter series, the makeup I was wearing in the intros and outros of all those videos was a look I made using these two palettes. And the other day I actually used this guy again paired with, what palette? I think it was the Pixie palette that was part of the Pixie Pretties collab, the I Heart or That's Heart eyeshadow palette, which is like a warm toned neutral palette, and this ended up pairing really beautifully with that as well. I used this shade Play It Cool in the inner corners as a highlight, and then I used a little bit of Ice Cold mixed with Chill Factor here in the outer corner just to deepen things up, and then I used just like a regular peachy kind of shade in the transition, and then like a gold all over the lid. And like, honestly, just look at how beautifully these swatch. It's crazy. So yeah, I definitely have been very impressed with the quality of the shadows in this palette. I feel like I said, ColourPop is generally pretty good, and these are no exception. So if you like minty green shades, if you want to be able to like add a pop of fun mint green to a more neutral look, I feel like for $12, this is not a bad investment. Now, as for the eyeliners, I am a little less impressed with these. What I've come to learn is that not all of these cream gel eyeliners from ColourPop are created equal. This Zulu one has broken on me so many times. Like, it's a very dry eyeliner. You kind of need to press a little hard to get it to show up. Once it warms up, it becomes a little bit creamier, and you definitely can get it to show up on your eyes. But I think because this has an opaque white base to it, the formula in this eyeliner is just less slippy and glidey than their metallic eyeliners. So, for example, I got this one when I got the ColourPop California Love palette. This is in the shade Overboard. This is like a metallic bronze liner, and I've had zero problem with this one breaking on me, and I barely have to press, and you can see like tons of pigment comes out on this. But this is metallic, so it doesn't have that opaque white base to it. It's got more of a sheen to it, and I think therefore it's just like a little more slippy. It has more of that emollient kind of texture to it. So I think if you get one of these metallic eyeliners, they work fantastically well. But these like more pastel, very like opaque white based ones, I think they're just a little bit drier and they tend to break more easily. Then there is this Blur Luxe lipstick in the shade Virgo Moon. Now, I have previously tried the regular Cream Luxe lipstick formula, and I've raved about that here on my channel many times over. I think it's a really beautiful lipstick formula. It's kind of more of your traditional lipstick. It's more matte than it is cream, but it's not super, super dry and flat. It's really opaque and has a lot of pigment, and they're relatively long wearing on the lips. But these ones are supposed to be more of like a dupe for the MAC Powder Kiss lipstick. So these have a much more lightweight texture to them that's almost powdery feeling when you glide it across the lips. It definitely still delivers a good amount of pigmentation though, and unlike the MAC Powder Kiss, which I have tried, I feel like this is less drying and a little less likely to kind of like move outside of the lip line and be messy. I don't know, I actually think I like this better than the Devoted to Chili lipstick that I got last year sometime, which I love the color of that. I don't like the way that it feels on my lips after I've been wearing it for like more than an hour. So this shade is a really, really beautiful kind of like deep, rich, peachy, rosy nude. I think it's super, super flattering. I'm definitely glad that I got this shade, which, fun fact, the reason that I decided to pick this specific shade up is because I do have a Virgo moon. Also, tangentially related side note, if you are into astrology and tarot and you've never checked out Aphrodite's channel, I highly, highly recommend watching him. He is super, super entertaining, and I just find his videos fascinating. He does all kinds of tarot readings on celebrities, on the beauty community. He just did the other day like an interpretation of James Charles' birth chart based on the information that he had, which wasn't like the complete information to have his complete birth chart, but enough information to tell you a little bit about James's astrological profile, and it was super, super interesting. And apparently he also is a Virgo moon, and the first thing that Aphrodite said was that he's never met a person with a Virgo moon that doesn't have like crazy anxiety, and I was like, man, just coming for me right there with that one. Anyway, it was very fascinating. I would definitely recommend checking it out if you haven't seen it before. I can link that video in the description box in case you want to watch it and learn some more about astrology. The very last product that I picked up from ColourPop was this little blending sponge. And I definitely had one of those I'm an idiot moments when I got my package in the mail, because I saw the box that this sponge was in and I was like, that's very, very tiny. And then I took it out of the package and was like, that is very, very tiny. What did I buy? And then I realized when I looked back at my order that I ordered the Precision Blending Sponge, not the blending sponge, which is what I had wanted to order on Amanda or Makeup Just for Fun's recommendation. She was saying that the ColourPop blending sponge is amazing and like everybody should try it, and it's only like $5 or $6. And that's what I meant to add to my cart, but no, I added the Precision Blending Sponge to my cart, which, just like for size reference comparison, this is a full-size e.l.f. sponge. This is the ColourPop Precision Blending Sponge, so it's itty bitty. However, I will say this does get significantly larger when you wet it, so it's not quite this tiny when you're trying to actually use it to apply your makeup. And it is a really nice size and shape for applying under eye concealer. So I'm definitely going to still get use out of this. And the texture is nice, especially again, once it's wet, it's very nice and light and bouncy. I would still really like to try the original blending sponge, because I'm sure that would be excellent for applying your makeup. But this is still really nice, and like, I am going to use it. So just word of caution, if you're shopping on the ColourPop website, they have two sponges. They look the same in shape, but they are not the same, so pay attention to which one you are ordering. So moving along, let's talk about Bite Beauty's new foundation, the Changemaker Supercharged Micellar foundation. Now, in case you missed it, I did an entire dedicated 2-day wear test reviewing this product. I did not purchase it. I did not receive it in PR. I went to Sephora and I had them make me a sample, because I am one who does not like to waste product, especially foundations, because if something doesn't work for you and you need to return it, they're just gonna throw it away. And I am very glad that I did not go out and buy this product, because lo and behold, I did not like it. And I did try it again a couple more times after filming that initial video, and I feel pretty much the same as I felt in that 2-day wear test. This foundation looks really beautiful right after I apply it and set it. I feel like it leaves my skin looking pretty smooth, not overly textured. It has medium coverage, so it's not too heavy, but it also covers up enough to make your skin look a little more even and perfected, which is honestly my preference. I'm not usually one that likes to go like full on cake face, really, really heavy, full coverage with my makeup. However, I do have oily skin, so I definitely felt like this product deteriorated on me fairly quickly throughout the day. On both days of my wear test, I was insanely shiny by the 8-hour mark. Like, this is something that I definitely would have to blot every couple of hours to keep it looking even semi-decent. And because it had broken down so much after 8 hours, I felt like the coverage was mostly gone both days. The second day, I used a mattifying setting spray and my Coats primer, and that definitely helped. but I still feel like there are other foundations that I have that wear much, much better than this on me, so I just was not a fan. And it's been very interesting to watch other people's reviews of this product because a lot of people really seem to like it, but some people said it looked dry on them, which was odd to me because to me, I felt like it was like the complete opposite. It was way too hydrating. On the first day that I tried this, like my skin felt almost like it was suffocating because it felt too emollient and too thick and too heavy on me for my liking. It was like itchy and I was not into it. So the second day using the primer I feel like helped because that kind of just creates like a little bit of a barrier between your skin and the makeup, and then I really set it down with some good mattifying products and that definitely did help, like I said. So I don't know, it's just been very, very interesting to hear other people's perspective and how it worked out for them. Some people say that it looks absolutely beautiful on them all day long. And like I said, it started out pretty good as far as the way that it looked on me. It just got way, way too shiny for my liking. So this is not something that I personally would recommend to other oily skinned people. At the very least, I would say if you are curious, go to your local Sephora and have them make you a sample and see how it works for you. I would not recommend just going out and spending the almost $40 to buy this. Now, complete opposite side of the spectrum, something I hands down could recommend with confidence to you guys is this highlight. OMG, I am in love with this. I have been wearing this so much lately and I just think it is so stinking pretty. This is the Nabla Skin Glazing Highlight. I have the shade Amnesia, which is kind of like a more mid-toned champagne-y gold color. This is not the lightest in the range. The lightest is Ozone, which is more of like a true champagne. I think that would probably be the best for people with a light or fair complexion. This one I think is beautiful on my skin tone, which, you know, is a little more like light medium. I think this would still work for me in the summertime when I have a tan. It would also look really nice on medium to tan skin tones, and then there are some deeper shades if you are on the deeper end of the skin tone spectrum. And now the reason that I'm so obsessed with this highlight is not just because it's from Nabla and I love so much of what they do because I'm like minorly obsessed with Nabla, but it's because the texture of this highlight is just so gorgeous and it's very different from a lot of other highlights that I've tried. It's very, very thin in texture. So it's not like a thick, creamy highlight. Like if you've tried the Persona highlight, which I also love, that one is very thick feeling, like it's almost very silicone-y in texture. When you swipe your finger in that pan, you can see that it picks up a lot of product and it's very blinding and it's very like creamy on the skin, but it's just thicker in texture. Whereas this is like ultra, ultra, ultra thin and it's still really light reflective and pretty, but it just blends into the skin as if it's like one with it. It just like melts right in and it really does give you that glass-like effect. It's not really enhancing of texture. Like any highlight, anything you put that's super light reflective on your cheeks, if you have a lot of texture there, like it's going to enhance it at least a little bit. But I feel like this is a much, much more forgiving formula than other really blinding highlights. There's also like zero kick up in the pan when you dip your brush into this. It's a very hard pressed formula. If anything, it might be baked because you can see that it's like raised up from the actual compact itself and has this really beautiful pattern embossed into it. So it's just a very unique, really beautiful, very flattering formula. I will say though that the brush that you use does matter to an extent because of the type of texture that this is. I feel like a highlighting brush, let me see if I can find one that's a good example. So like the Moda Highlight and Glow brush picks up this product really well because it's more of a flat highlight brush that has slightly less flimsy bristles, so you can really like get in there and pick the product up. But if you were to use something like, let's say a brush like this, that is like a little bit more fluffy, I don't think you're gonna pick up as much product. So it's gonna give you a much more subtle application. So if you like a really, really blinding glow, use a more densely packed brush with this and like it will go on really, really intense and blinding and pretty. So all in all, I 100% recommend this. If you are in the market for a new highlight, this is one I definitely think is worth checking out. The packaging, the presentation is absolutely stunning, and the price point I think is very reasonable. I'm pretty sure you can get this on the Ulta website for $24, which for a high-end highlight really isn't bad. Like the Becca ones I think are $38, and honestly I think I like this formula even more. Now another 100% would recommend product that I tried in January is the CoverFx Mattifying Setting Spray. This ended up being so awesome, and I'm so glad because this is a mattifying setting spray that does not have denatured alcohol, and that is very difficult to find. Like the Urban Decay All Nighter, great setting spray, has denatured alcohol. The Too Faced Peach Mist that I love so much also has denatured alcohol. And like I know that when you are applying a setting spray, it is the very last step of your makeup application, so there are many layers of makeup between that setting spray and your skin, but I still feel like it's a little drying, it's a little much. I don't really like the idea of dousing my face in denatured alcohol on a daily basis, so I was hoping that I could find an alcohol-free setting spray that would work well for me. And unfortunately, a lot of other alcohol-free setting sprays I've tried are like way too dewy. They make me look way too greasy. So this was something that was like my last hope. I was just like, please work for me because that would be great. And fortunately, this lived up to all of my hopes and dreams. This stuff is excellent. It definitely, I feel like, makes a difference in how my makeup wears and how matte my skin stays throughout the day. Like you can even tell in the Bite Beauty review video that I did, I used this product on the second day of my wear test, and I feel like this exact same foundation wore so much better that second day having this applied over it. And just in general, I've noticed on the days where I forget to use this, I'm just more shiny than on the days that I remember. Like it really does definitely make a difference with my oily skin and how shiny I get. And I am so happy about that because this is expensive and I would have been really bummed if I wasted $30 worth of Ulta points on a product that didn't work. And now in addition to being effective, I also feel like the mist on this is pretty nice. It's a little more aggressive than the illuminating setting spray from CoverFx. I got that one in a BoxyCharm years ago, and that had the most like ultra fine angel's kiss of a mist I've ever used. This is a little bit more than that, although I feel like it's kind of necessary. You kind of need to like saturate your whole face with the product to know that it's like on there and melding with your makeup to lock it in. But it doesn't like shoot at you with crazy droplets. It's not like a jet stream. It's pretty nice. Actually, I can demo it for you guys because I'm not wearing any setting spray right now. Now this does, if you can hear that, have the little mixing balls in the bottom. It is really important that you shake this up really well before you use it because it does have the kind of formula that if it's not well mixed, it could potentially leave white spots on your face. I haven't had that issue, but again, I always try to shake well before I spray. So I'll do a couple little spritzes so you guys can see what the mist is like. And I feel like it has a very light, pleasant scent to it. It's not like overly perfumey or anything that's gonna irritate you. It's just really nice. So I am thoroughly impressed with this. I definitely would consider repurchasing this in the future when I run out. Will this trump my Too Faced Peach Mist? I don't know. Possibly, especially because Too Faced has been real shady lately, so I kind of feel like it would be nice to support a very, very non-dramatic brand such as CoverFx, and again, no alcohol. Alright, so I have one last makeup product to share with you guys before we move on to some skincare and other things. And that is the Alter Ego Aurora palette. So this is something that was sent to me in PR from Alter Ego. They are kind of like one of those dupe brands. They dupe a lot of high-end palettes, especially Natasha Denona palettes, which this right here is a dupe for her Sunrise palette. So you have a lot of really pretty warm tones in here, some berries, a little pop of purple. And unlike the Sunrise palette, which retails for $65, which is, in the world of Natasha Denona, not so bad, this guy is $16. So if you really, really liked that color story but didn't want to shell out over $50 for an eyeshadow palette, this is a really nice alternative. Now, performance-wise, I do think these shadows are really quite nice. These metallics swatch really, really beautifully. They are pretty impactful on the eyes. I do prefer to apply them with a finger over a brush, although you could use them with a brush if you wanted. And the mattes that Alter Ego makes are very soft. They're not like the most insanely pigmented mattes I've ever used, but I find that they are smooth and they're pretty even. They build up fairly nicely, so like they're not difficult to work with. And like in general, I feel like I'm able to get a really nice look with the shades in this palette. Now, is this on the same level of quality as Natasha Denona? Probably not. I mean, I personally have never tried a Natasha Denona eyeshadow, so I don't really have a frame of reference as to what those are like. But just like knowing other really high-end eyeshadows that I have in my collection, I feel like these are like just like a slight notch down from those. Like when I think about my Nabla eyeshadows or my ABH eyeshadows, there's something about the quality of these that's like just a little more powdery, like a little less rich, a little less luxe feeling than those, but you definitely are still gonna get a really, really nice look out of this palette. So I feel like for $16, this definitely is a good buy if you really, really like these shades. If you really wanted the Sunrise palette but didn't want to spend the money on it, like I think this would be a great alternative to try. So moving on to skincare, let's talk about this guy right here, the Good Molecules Silicone-Free Priming Moisturizer. Now I know this has priming in the title of it, but this is a skincare product. It is a moisturizer. It's not really a primer, although it does prime your skin really nicely for makeup. So I've used this guy a fair number of times as a morning moisturizer, both on days when I'm wearing makeup and not wearing makeup, and I really, really like this product. Now, I will say, my skin is not at its absolute oiliest. We're actually probably at the point of my skin being its driest in the year because I'm inside a lot with forced air heat and it's cold outside and the humidity around these parts is like basically negligible. So I feel like my skin needs a little more richness and a little bit more hydration than it does at any other time of the year, and this has been perfect because it's a rich moisturizer without being heavy. So, you know, when you squirt it out, it's not like super liquidy and runny, but it's also not like thick and greasy either. It absorbs into the skin fairly quickly. It has a really nice, like luxurious texture to it, and it doesn't have any kind of a scent or fragrance. It doesn't have like really anything in it that would irritate your skin, and it also doesn't have any silicones in it. So if you're trying not to layer on too much silicone onto your skin, because if you think about it, if you're using a serum with silicone, a moisturizer with silicone, a sunscreen with silicone, and then a foundation with silicone, like that can kind of be a lot on your skin. So if you're just trying to like reduce the amount of silicones a little bit, this is a great way to do so while still like giving your skin a lot of like really good nourishment and hydration. Also, the price of this is like $14, I think, which is super reasonable. You get 1.7 ounces of product, which is a decent amount for a moisturizer. So definitely would recommend this if you are looking for a good, reasonably priced moisturizer that's no fuss, no fragrance, and will wear really nicely under makeup. Like, you can't really go wrong. Good stuff. Now, on the flip side, a moisturizer that I couldn't get as into this month was this guy here from Glow Recipe. This is the Banana Soufflee Moisture Cream. It's one of their newer launches, and this was sent to me from Influencer for the purposes of testing and reviewing it, so I did not have to pay for this with my own money. And this moisturizer kills me because it smells incredible. It smells like Runts candies or like banana popsicles. It has that really sweet artificial banana scent, which I personally, huge fan of. However, I feel like it's the heavy fragrance in this that makes my skin really unhappy. Whenever I've used this, I've noticed after a couple of days, my skin starts to break out or it starts to get congested. And that kind of like scared me a little bit. So I did not want to keep using this, especially when I have other moisturizers like this one that don't do that to my skin. So that was just kind of a bummer to me because like this has so much promise. Oh, it smells so delicious, and texture wise, it is really nice. It's a very liquidy moisturizer while still being pretty hydrating, and it sinks nicely into the skin. I do wish they didn't put it in a jar. I kind of hate this packaging. I wish they put it in a bottle like they did their pink juice moisturizer, just because it's so much more hygienic. And also I feel like the texture of this just makes it that much harder to kind of like get it out of the jar. Like you can even see if I tilt this, like it's jiggly. It's a very loose kind of liquidy consistency, almost like it's like banana pudding or something. So I just don't love needing to like stick my fingers in here. I would prefer it if I didn't have to do that. I think it would just be better if you could pump it out of a bottle. But even still, I just don't think that the skin on my face can really tolerate the high amount of fragrance that's in this product. Like even just applying this to my hands right now, it smells very, very strongly of bananas, which is yummy, but it's just super unnecessary for your skincare. And then finally, the last two skincare products I wanted to update you guys on are from Volition Beauty. I have their Strawberry Sea Serum and then their Hibiscus Unspottable Correcting Oil. So the Strawberry Sea Serum I picked up over Black Friday weekend. I was really excited about it because I got a really good deal on this product. And essentially, this is a vitamin C serum that derives its vitamin C from strawberry seeds and strawberry fruit extract, because strawberries are apparently naturally a great source of vitamin C. We all think of citrus fruits, but citrus fruits can actually be pretty irritating to the skin, apparently. And also, they're not the only fruit that has vitamin C in it. So I just thought this was kind of a cool, unique product. It does not smell like strawberries, alas, but again, fragrance in skincare is not the best thing for us, so this does not have like any kind of artificial strawberry scent added to it. In fact, I'm pretty sure there are no fragrance additives in this product at all. In fact, there's like a whole bunch of really great stuff that's in here. In addition to the strawberry fruit extract and strawberry seed extract, there is, for example, cucumber fruit water, which is a great hydrating and calming ingredient for the skin. There's glycerin in here. There's a bunch of different ferments that are supposed to be really good for your skin. Sodium hyaluronate, which is supposed to help pull moisture from the air into your skin. So yeah, in general, I feel like this product has a lot of really great skin beneficial ingredients in it, and I've really enjoyed using it. It's got a very lightweight, almost watery texture. It sinks really quickly into the skin, and it doesn't leave your skin feeling like weirdly tacky and gross or anything like that. I have a feeling come the summertime, I'm going to love this even more, just knowing how lightweight and refreshing it is. I think when my skin does get crazy oily, this is going to continue to work really, really well for me. But even with my skin being kind of a little more dehydrated in this crazy dry winter air, like I do still really like it. And what's been really awesome is that since I have enjoyed this product so much, I kind of reached out to Volition on one of these like influencer platforms that I'm a part of, because I saw that they had a couple of different campaigns you could apply for, and they accepted me to receive this guy right here, which is the Hibiscus Unspottable Correcting Oil. So I've been trying this out as well. And then they also sent me a backup bottle of this guy, because apparently February marks the 1-year anniversary of the launch of this product. So they're doing a little like Instagram campaign with this as well. So you may have seen that post on my Instagram feed. But yeah, so really enjoying this, really excited to have a backup bottle. And then this guy right here is one of their newer launches. So this is a facial oil that's infused with hibiscus flower, and it's supposed to help to reduce hyperpigmentation and to brighten the complexion. And I have also been enjoying this. This is something I've been using at bedtime, because I don't typically like to wear facial oils during the day because it's just a little bit too much for my skin under makeup. But at nighttime, I think that this is lovely. Again, it's not too heavy. It sinks in fairly nicely into the skin. I feel like by the morning, it's like pretty well absorbed. I don't have a lot of greasiness left behind on my skin. Like I can usually tell if an oil is too heavy for me, if by the time that I wake up in the morning, my skin still feels super greasy as if I just put it on. I am definitely going to need to continue to test this to develop my thoughts on it over the long term because as I said, I have been using other skincare. So it's not like I've just been exclusively using this at bedtime on my skin. So these are really more of my initial kind of first impression thoughts on the texture and the application. Also, scent-wise, this guy does have a little bit of a smell to it. There isn't any synthetic fragrance in this, but there are a few essential oils in this, like there is lavender essential oil in this product. It's kind of far down on the ingredients list and it's not like super apparent, but this does have a little bit of a scent to it. So if your skin is ultra sensitive or if you're like allergic to lavender, you probably want to stay away from this. But I think it smells absolutely lovely and you kind of have to like really stick your nose in it to smell it. It's not like super overpowering and in your face the way that the Glow Recipe Banana Soufflee cream is. But yeah, as far as facial oils go, I do really like this. Some of them, like I said, have been too much for my oily skin, but this is one I feel like I've been able to use and it hasn't been like too crazy greasy on me. All right, so the last thing I want to talk about in today's beauty report video is Lights Lacquer, which is Kathleen Light's new nail polish brand. I was so excited to pick some of these up and support her because honestly, I loved Kale polish. They were probably like the best nail polishes that I had ever tried. I love them so much and I was really upset for her when she had to walk away from her own brand. So apparently like with Kale polish, she was not like the primary stockholder or primary owner. Like even though she was kind of like the creative mind behind the brand and the face of the brand, I think she had a business partner or investor that ultimately had more say over certain things in the company on a business perspective. And she just ultimately did not see eye to eye with them and they were making choices she wasn't okay with. So she walked away from the company and started over from scratch and created Lights Lacquer. So I picked up 3 shades from her new gemstone collection. I have Ruby, I have Amethyst, and I have Alexandrite. And then I picked up from her like initial launch the shades Woman and Girl Power. So right off the bat, she definitely kept like the spirit of Kale polish alive in this new brand. The design of the bottles is very similar to Kale polish. You have the same soft touch caps. You have a similarly shaped bottle. They're like slightly wider than the Kale polish bottles, but they basically have the same kind of like rectangular shape. The brush is very similar. It's that same kind of wide paddle style brush with a curve to the edge of the bristles. So you can, hug the brush right up close to your cuticle and get a nice clean line. I love these kind of brushes on my nail polishes because I have very wide nail beds. The little skinny brushes on like an Essie polish drive me absolutely nuts because I feel like they're just very streaky and uneven on my nails. I think they're much better if you're a person with small nails. But these for me are great. I just have to do a couple quick swipes and then my entire nail is covered and I'm good to go. So all of that I really love and I'm glad that she kept those things. Now, formula wise, I'm a little bit more on the fence and it's hard to say whether or not it's just that these polishes that I picked are kind of like more sheer and sparkly or if this is going to be the case overall with Lights Lacquer. But I felt like these polishes were not as long wearing on me as the Kale polishes were. Now, who knows? It could also be my top and base coat. The ones I'm using are from Nails Inc. And granted, they're the same ones that I've been using for a really long time. And that's what I used primarily with my Kale polish. So I would think it shouldn't make a difference, but maybe they're less compatible with this formula. Who knows? Either way, I just felt like in the times that I would wear one of these polishes, it would maybe last like 3 days or so on me, and then I would start to see chips. Whereas I felt with like the Kale polish, I could usually get a couple more days out of a wear without chipping. And again, now 4 of the 5 shades I've tried are shimmery and they're a little bit more on the sheer side. These mostly need to be built up a little bit. I feel like Ruby I can kind of get away with 2 coats. Girl Power kind of needs 3. The Amethyst shade I feel like I could do 2 coats with. Alexandrite I haven't worn on its own. This I've layered over other polishes. I actually really like it layered over Woman because this gives a nice strong blue base and together they look pretty cool. But yeah, I don't know. It's just like I like these. I think the shades are really, really awesome. But like, I feel like there's just something a little different in this formula from the Kale Polish one that's just like a little less awesome. And I feel bad saying that because I'm rooting so hard for Kathleen, and I definitely am looking forward to her spring collection and seeing what those shades are going to look like, and I probably will pick a few up and try them out. But yeah, I'd be really curious to know if you guys have tried these polishes, what you think of them, and if you feel that they are super long wearing on you, or if you have any tips and tricks to make them work. Alright guys, so I think that is it for today's video. My throat right now is dying a slow and painful death. I have talked way too much today for how sick I'm feeling, so I am promptly going to go make myself a cup of tea and watch some YouTube and paint my nails, and then I'm gonna go to bed. Anyway, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you enjoyed hearing my thoughts on all of these products. If you did, I hope you will consider giving this video a thumbs up. I always really appreciate your support so much. And of course, if you've tried any of these products, let me know what you think of them. Did they work out for you? Did they not? Are we on the same page? It's always really, really good to hear what your experience is, especially if we have different skin types, different preferences, etc. And if you're new and you are not already subscribed and you would like to see my face in your subscription feed so we can hang out again in the future, I hope you will click that button before you go. And on that note, I'm gonna go rest these poor inflamed vocal cords of mine, but I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.